And our top stories are Australia's state of Victoria going back into lockdown. It's fourth since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, this time for 7 days. Authorities are calling it a short, sharp circuit breaker to allow contact tracers to get ahead of a growing coronavirus outbreak. China accuses the U.S. of politicizing the origins of COVID-19 after President Biden tells intelligence agencies to redouble efforts into their investigations, raising fresh questions about a leak involving a laboratory in the Chinese city of Wuhan. And Cyclone Yas weakens after the storm makes landfall on India's eastern coast. Authorities in West Bengal are reporting up to 10 million people being affected. Has confirmed its support for Japan's plan to proceed with the Tokyo Olympics. This barely 48 hours after the U.S. issued a do not travel advisory to Japan, citing a widening COVID-19 outbreak.
Well, first, let me just be very clear. The to travel advisory is an advisory. It's not a ban. But, you know, our position remains. It has not changed on the Olympics. You know, we respected the decision to delay the Olympics, the Games last summer, and we understand the careful consideration that the Japanese government and the International Olympic Committee are weighing as they prepare for the Tokyo Olympics that's just coming up right around the corner.
An official partner of the Games, Japanese daily Asahi Shimbun, yesterday called for the event to be cancelled, citing risks to public safety and strains on the medical system. The chief executive of the organising committee for the Games said it's only natural for news organisations to have different views and that the board did not discuss cancelling the Games at its meeting yesterday. IOC Vice President Dick Pound said calls for cancellation were politically driven and said the Games will go on as planned in July. While the fate of the world's biggest sporting fiesta still hanging in the balance, just under 2 months to go, earlier we spoke to an expert about the prospects of it being cancelled or postponed again.
Well, I don't think the Games should go ahead, and I'm looking at it not from a political point of view, but from a public health perspective. I have two large concerns. One is for the health and safety of the athletes and the officials, and the other, of course, is for the Japanese people. Now, starting with the athletes, there is no requirement for athletes and their entourages, or even the media, to be vaccinated before they go to Japan. The IOC president has said that he expects 80% of athletes to be vaccinated. I don't know where that figure comes from, but even if he's correct, that leaves thousands of athletes and coaches who won't be vaccinated and therefore be vulnerable to being infected while they're in Tokyo, in particular in the village where they may come in contact with people who are infected, and also in locker rooms, gyms, and other open areas. So I think that is my main concern.
Taiwan has accused China of blocking a proposed deal between Taiwan with Pfizer-BioNTech to secure COVID-19 vaccines. Taiwan had previously implied implied Beijing was blocking its path. Now, for the first time, it has accused China of interfering and preventing it from buying shots directly from Germany. President Tsai Ing-wen said Taiwan was close to completing a contract, but that it was unable to do so because of intervention from China. China has denied similar allegations. Yesterday, a mainland official said they offered to provide vaccines to the island as a goodwill gesture.
上海市医药卫生发展基金会、江苏省海峡两岸文化交流促进会负责人已经分别表示，愿意向广大的台湾同胞捐赠一批新冠疫苗，帮助缓解他们的燃眉之急，协助他们加强防疫。我们对此表示支持，会积极予以协助，也希望台湾有关方面为这批疫苗尽快输台，扫除障碍。
China's Fosun Pharma controls distribution rights to the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine in mainland China, Taiwan, Hong Kong and Macau. Taiwan has maintained that it will only directly purchase and negotiate it with BioNTech. BioNTech declined to comment on Taiwan's allegations against China, but said the company supported global vaccine supply. Taiwan's vaccine campaign has been floundering. For a population of around 24 million people, the island has so far secured just over 700,000 vaccine shots. Deals have been signed for some 5 million doses of the Moderna vaccine, 10 million AstraZeneca shots, and nearly 5 million doses of unspecified vaccines through the WHO's COVAX facility. Authorities say a locally developed vaccine will be available in July. As of yesterday, Taiwan has administered some 310,000 jabs. That is some 15,000 shots per day. Taiwan was once touted as the world's pandemic success story, but now people suspected of having COVID-19 have been forced to wait up to 9 days for a confirmed test result. There's a huge backlog at testing facilities given the recent spike in local cases. Authorities are now also searching for more than 300 people who tested positive. They are unaccounted for because their phone numbers and addresses were either fake or illegible. Taiwan reported 635 new cases yesterday, around half of them local transmissions. The island is now under heightened alert. Singapore reported 26 new COVID-19 cases yesterday, 24 of them locally transmitted, the rest imported. 23 infections are in the community and 1 is amongst foreign workers living in dormitories. Health officials also identified 3 new clusters. Singapore now has 34 active clusters. 20 of the new community infections are linked to previous cases, while 3 are unlinked. Half of Tuesday's number. And health officials say the number of unlinked cases in the community has decreased to 30 in the past week. That's down from 40 the week before. And they say overall the number of new cases in the community has also decreased to 165 cases in the past week, from 187 cases the week before. Joe Biden has made tackling climate change one of his main goals as president. And the environment is at the center of a nearly $2 trillion jobs and infrastructure bill that he's trying to get through Congress. But can this strategy work at a local level? Kate Fisher reports from a town in Pennsylvania.
Growing up near 2 military bases, as children, Joanne Stanton and Hope Gross loved to stand at this fence, watching as members of the Navy torched an aeroplane during their weekly fire drills.
The plane sat right in the middle.
They had no idea the spectacle was leaching dangerous chemicals known as PFAS into their water.
And if you get down the hill there at the street, that's where there's like a little creek.
In 1990, my dad was diagnosed with cancer and passed away within like 30 days. The neighbor right next door here, he had passed away 3 months before my dad from a brain tumor. All of our 8 pets that we've had growing up all had cancerous tumors and died, every single one of them. So about 3 months after we buried my father, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Joanne's son developed a brain tumor at 6 years old.
There were 3 of us who grew up in Warminster on the same street within a few houses, and we each had children with the same type of brain tumor. You can imagine how gut-wrenching it was to comprehend the fact that my exposure may have actually caused my child's cancer.
The Department of Defense closed the base in 1997, but the pollution remains.
This is the runway. I mean, they would fly in and land this whole strip.
The activist organisation, the Environmental Working Group, estimates that 85,000 homes in the area have unsafe drinking water.
I find it ironic that the very entity whose job it is to protect the American people has actually given a lot of American people and their own military cancer and other diseases.
I feel for me and for my family and for this whole community, like we were poisoned without consent. You know, we were poisoned. It's the bottom line. We can sit here as Americans and our own federal government